Kwiatkowski.
There's a couple things that I want to talk to you about. First off, I'm actually running as a Republican. Okay, I'm actually following the Ron Paul model to some extent, standing up for Constitution and liberty as a Republican within that two-party system. And I'm challenging an incumbent, who you all know, Father Soap and a few other things. Yeah, there's a couple things I want to tell you today, and I'll start out with, I was going to tell you about my 20-year military career, starting in 1982, and what occurred to me as I was thinking about that is in my entire lifetime, I have never lived in a country that had a formal, legal, constitutional declaration of war. Never in my entire lifetime. We have not honored our Constitution. So everything that I could tell you about defending our country and being in the military has to be colored by the fact that we have never done anything in terms of the Constitution in all of our wars. But having said that, I started out 1982. It was the Cold War. Many of you here fought that Cold War. You remember it. If you're younger than that, you've read about it, okay? And I was a Goldwater type Republican. I believed in defense. And I didn't really question it because I was in my 20s, and maybe I'm a little late, but I didn't question it that much in my 20s. And then the Cold War ended, 89, 90, Cold War ended. And I was getting ready to deploy over in Europe, and I remember thinking, if the Cold War is over and there's no more Warsaw Pact, well, there shouldn't be any NATO. So I was expecting that NATO... Yep. I was expecting very much that NATO would basically fall apart in a peaceful relaxation, decentralization. There would be no more NATO. But in fact, the exact opposite happened. As you guys remember, the Warsaw Pact collapsed, the Soviet Union collapsed, NATO grew. It grew, it expanded its mission. And I remember wondering, because again, I was just in my early 30s and I wasn't that smart, and I didn't really know about Ron Paul then. I didn't understand about American history, and I did not understand why, when it should have collapsed, instead it grew larger. So then we enter into a war. Many of you here served in the Gulf War. Undeclared. A lot of things we could talk about. We're not going to talk about. I will say one thing. From the folks that supported that war and fought in that war, prosecuted that war, we have lost in the intervening years due to Gulf War syndrome and suicides and other things, more than we lost in Vietnam, more than 58,000 people, and you guys know that. So this is a costly thing. This is not fun for the Congress. These wars have costs, and again, not declared. So we go on through that war, a kind of a contrived war, and finally I find myself in early 2000 working in the Pentagon, working at the Office of the Secretary of Defense. And I'm working in Near East South Asia affairs. I'm working in Middle East policy. I'm pushing papers. I'm reading intel. And I'm meeting political appointees, okay, from the Bush administration, from Dick Cheney's office, that are over there making policy. And what do you think the policy is that they want to make? That's right. More war. They want more war. They want war with Iraq. And so we're looking at the intel, of course, and we know what it says about Iraq's capabilities. It's a fourth-rate military power, very poor economy, no Navy, no Air Force, not much of an army. You have this country, but oh no, this is the devil. This is the country we're going to take out. So they make up a bunch of stories. You guys know it. The whole American people know it by now. In 2002 and 2003, we knew it to be lies. Many in the Pentagon knew it to be lies, and yet we put that out there. We promulgated that war and that invasion, and of course we did it. And as I recall, 10 years have gone past since then. I got out, I retired, I started speaking out about it. Initially, I was criticized. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was anti-government. I was unpatriotic. And it turns out, within a couple of years, by 2005, 2006, we all knew that we'd been lied into war once again. So, anyway, that's a little bit about my story. I want to tell you just a tiny bit about the campaign, and I give credit for me being in politics because I didn't want to do politics. I didn't want to run for an office, but I'm doing it in part because of the example and the inspiration that Ron Paul has given to all of us. Now, he needs a big hand for that. Paul, as you guys know here, and I don't know, at what point you discovered Ron Paul, but Ron Paul, of course, man of principle, commitment, honor, common sense, integrity. He's the man. I'm sorry. That is it. He ran for president, of course, as we know, 4 years ago, started the Tea Party movement, activated a lot more people. His popularity has only increased in real terms, in terms of real people. You in the military or with military service or affiliations know this because you understand his foreign policy is the constitutional foreign policy, the correct and just foreign policy, the smartest one. So you guys have got this, but actually the whole country is awakening to the answers that Ron Paul provides. And so I'm happy to be here as a Republican running a race in Virginia against an incumbent Republican. I'm happy to actually share with you what the Virginia Republican Party is putting out through their own channels and what they're telling us. And it may not be for the right reasons, but what they are telling us is they would like to see Ron Paul win in Virginia on March 6th.